After a decade of teaching SolidWorks to hundreds of industrial design students, I noticed patterns, struggles that kept showing up, and the habits that led to real breakthroughs. In this video, I'll share the most important lessons I learned from teaching and how they can make you a stronger designer. Hi, welcome to Fully Defined. My name is Chris, and I'm a certified SolidWorks expert. So let me set the scene. My classes were part of the technology stream in the industrial design degree. The subject names changed a little over the years. Sometimes it was CAD to CAM, sometimes the CAD toolkit, but the structure stayed the same. About 15 to 20 students per class, 12 weeks per semester, 3 hours at a time. And of course, SolidWorks was always the tool we worked with. What I noticed early on is that students had no problem learning the basics. They could pick up a sketch tool or an extrude command pretty quickly. But when it came to pulling everything together into a complete parametric model, that's where the wheels started to fall off. The biggest hurdle was workflow. It wasn't about what button to press, but when to click it and why. Troubleshooting was even more complex. Errors that seemed small could throw an entire model out of sync, and students really struggled with how to fix them. If you look through the built-in SolidWorks tutorials, there isn't anything on how to deal with an error-riddled feature tree or broken mates in an assembly. That's when I realized that CAD is less about memorizing tools and more about thinking like a designer. I'll be honest, I never used any of the textbooks or the SolidWorks training manuals that are out there. I always built projects from scratch. The only exception was the Pulley project, which had been around since my own student days. If you're interested in understanding this one, check out the playlist linked in the description below. Now, instead, I preferred real-world tasks, projects that actually looked like something a designer might encounter. My favorite was the life-size project. Each student had to pick a handheld object, something small enough to bring into class, but detailed enough to challenge them. They had to measure it, reverse engineer it, and build it in SolidWorks. That project was always a turning point. Students suddenly saw the connection between the abstract skills we've been practicing and the real objects in their hands. It taught them not just how to use the software, but how to think through a design, building upon the foundations one layer at a time until they had a finished object in front of them. Of course, teaching wasn't just a learning experience for the students. It shaped me as well. First, it taught me patience. When 15 to 20 students are all stuck at the same time, you have to learn how to slow down, break things apart, and explain them in different ways until the idea clicks. What works for one student and is super clear is muddy to another. Second, it taught me clarity. I had to strip workflows down to their essentials. What's the minimum you need to do in the correct order to make this work? Adjusting your language, utilizing the projector screens, slowing down to fundamentals were paramount. Third, humility. Students would ask questions to which I didn't know the answer. When I started teaching, I was not an expert or even certified professional. I was just a few years in front of them. It's confronting at first, but over time, I got used to saying, look, I don't know, but I'll find out. Then I'd either go back to my screen and test it out, or go home, research it, and bring back an answer the next week. Making sure to always respond and follow up was crucial in building trust with the students. Those three things, patience, clarity, and humility, carried over into my professional life. They shaped how I work with clients, suppliers, and colleagues. I learned to make sure I understand the problem clearly before offering an answer, and that came directly from those teaching years. So what's the takeaway? Teaching SolidWorks wasn't just about showing students how to model parts. It changed the way I think as a designer and set me up for professional success later in my career. If you're learning SolidWorks right now, don't get discouraged when the software feels hard. The struggle isn't in the buttons, it's in building a process. Stick with it, because once you learn how to think through a model, you'll change the way you design forever. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to check out this video on my biggest mistakes in SolidWorks and how you can avoid them.